you, wherever you are, we need you to stay. We need you here. This world is better because of you. Please, please, please stay. Please talk to someone. Please get help, and you can be better. Hopefully they're learning something from it.
What an amazing, beautiful example. And I know Abby, a lot of her platform is based on this, and we're also going to have to get her back and do a thorough interview. But I think there's two key things that we learned there, and you answered the major question, and that was go 100% in. I was going to ask what you do when someone's viciously attacking you, because we live in this crazy, divisive time. And I even find challenge at times when someone goes really negative. And it sounds like your answer is just go 100% in, that you're not going to go negative.
Yeah, it's also now that I've won. I mean, that's a little different in a campaign. Now people are attacking you constantly on social media and other things, and it's really hard. I can be very snarky. I can be quick to tear people down. I'm an attorney. I was trained to do that kind of thing, to debate and argue, and
but
so
you say you're a reformed attorney,
I
so
am a
we
reformed attorney.
We have friends still.
But it was, so Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, who actually lives not far from you, she taught me a very valuable lesson on social media. She said, if it feels good, don't do it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I check myself, because in the moment I just want to, I want to go after them. And so I pause, and then I try to see the good in them. I try to take an empathetic view, look at it from their perspective. Where are they coming from? What are their life experiences that are different than me? Try to find the good in what they're saying. Try to see if there's some common ground where we can find a belief, and then build from there. Sometimes we can't, but I don't need to tear other people down to get where I'm headed.
So irrespective, respect. It sounds like respect. I need to tell one fun little story that just caused me to chuckle dearly. Is right in the middle of this election, things had got a little bit heated up regarding some political issues. We won't go into what it was. And so a bunch of protesters actually showed up beside your house on a cold winter day. What would most of you do in that situation? Well, let me tell you what. I guess I've got to call you Governor Cox, but I'm not going to. I'm going to call you Spencer.
You can call me
and
Spencer.
Abby did.
That's right. Yeah.
They made cookies and hot chocolate and took it out and warmed the visitors up. Maybe that's a great response.
Well, there are different ways to handle that. We at first we were really angry. Abby was really angry. Yeah. My kids are like, "What? This is our home. This is kind of our sanctuary. We live on a farm way out of town in Fairview, small town." And but we tried. We wanted to practice empathy and that mentality. So we talked about it, and one of our kids, somebody mentioned that maybe we should try something positive, and the protesters were really surprised when we came out.
Oh yeah,
and
I was too.
and I hope it was a good message, and it was sincere. We were able to talk with some of them and listen to them a little bit, and again try to have some understanding from where they were coming from. And I don't know if we changed many minds, but maybe we changed a few hearts that day.
And maybe that's what it's really about is seeking to understand. Yeah. Most of you are aware my mentor was Stephen Covey, one of my early mentors, and he taught this profound concept of seek first to understand, then to be understood. And I think you embody that. There's one other thing I want to draw out that we've actually covered two of the courageous conversations in one here, so that was really fun, how it weaved together. But you said practice or learn, because we're not going to be perfect at times. Yeah. And we may bite back once in a while, and then we take a deep breath and we practice a little better.
Yeah, look, I make mistakes all the time. I'm certainly not perfect, and that's one area where I've tried to improve. When I was younger, I was a real hothead. I was a basketball referee. I got certified when I was very young. I reffed hundreds of games, if not thousands, and fans get into it. And you'd think that would make me more patient with refs and other things, but at sporting events, I was always the loud guy and really outspoken. And I've tried to tone that down. I've tried to learn. I've tried to be better. And when I do make a mistake, I ask people to forgive me, and I start over, and I try to be better the next time.
I actually want to see one of the videos of that.
Hopefully, the good news is when we were younger, we didn't have video everywhere on our phones. Thank goodness. And social media. I don't know how kids do it these days, because I made plenty of mistakes, but fortunately, they're not out there for everyone to see.
Yeah, boy, is that ever a true statement. All right, so we covered 1 and 2 in one fell swoop there. Any final advice that you may just give our listeners there on this concept of divisiveness, of what we need to heal not only our nation, but to heal our communities? And oftentimes, Spencer, now even heal our families.
Yeah, we're seeing that divide. So what I tell people all the time is politics isn't that important. It's important. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I do this, and our nation was founded on this grand experiment 245 years ago, and all of that stuff really matters. But there are things that are more important than politics. Your family, right? Your religion, your community. All of those things are more important. So that's the first thing. I say this all the time. Politics is becoming religion for people, and politics is becoming sport for people. Right? We have jerseys, and they're the bad guys, and we boo them, and they're the enemy. It's becoming entertainment for people. We consume it all day on social media, on 24-hour news channels. So I encourage people to take a break from politics, and to see people outside of whether they're a Republican or a Democrat. See them for who they are as human beings. Get to know them. Get to know people who are different than you. Get out of your echo chambers. Don't just surround yourselves with the same mindset. That's not healthy. There's a lot we can learn from the other side. And then the last thing I'll say, and you already said it, I say it a little differently than Stephen Covey said it, but I listen to understand instead of listening to debate. There's a difference. Too many people, when we're talking politics, they listen, but they're in their mind, they're preparing their response. How am I going to take this person down or prove this person wrong, instead of answering probing questions. So tell me why you believe this. Tell me about your background, how you were raised. What did your parents? And trying to understand. When I've done that, what I find is that usually we start out this far apart on an issue, when really we're this far apart. We want the same thing. We just have different backgrounds, different experiences. And when I truly listen to understand, that person's much more likely to listen to me, to give me the grace to hear me out. But more importantly, then I know where they're coming from, and I can tailor what I believe to where they are and show them that we're not that far apart. Sometimes I can convince them. Sometimes they can convince me. Sometimes we can meet in the middle. Sometimes we can't. But when we can't, that's okay, because I have a newfound respect and love for that
furthermore,
person.
sometimes it actually gives stability. As I was running companies, the biggest thing I discovered is as soon as I had too tight of scope, I was really, really vulnerable. So I think the broadening is also a stabilizing important aspect. We don't want to niche it down.
I couldn't agree more.
I had a really, I guess, a little troubling conversation that took place a couple of months ago, and I didn't honestly handle it too well. I was with a group, and they got pretty negative and actually pretty close-minded, and I kind of stood up but got a little bit blathery, and then I had to go practice again and show a little more patience. I was down at Governor's Honors last week giving a speech, and I told about that story, and I want to recount my response to some of this content you're talking about. Is it's actually easy to connect with people, I think. It's easier than we think, particularly the minorities or the underserved. And it's really this simple. Take interest and serve them. If you see a blind child, help the blind child. If you see an underserved minority, take time, listen, and serve the underserved minority. If you see a little Sherpa daughter, by chance I raised a little Sherpa daughter, serve and help that little Sherpa girl. If you see an angry whoever, then take time to listen and do an act of service. And it's amazing how instantly you get a whole bunch of new best friends doing that.
It's hard to hate up close. And what you're talking about is getting closer to people, getting proximate, right? I'm a big believer in the power of proximity to change lives, change attitudes, and change hearts.
I loved that Abby has that one of her major platform pieces, and we are going to get Abby. And hang on to your hat if you think this one is good. When we get Abby, you're going to love it because she's amazing. All right, we're going to shift now to the final little point here, tenderly. Now we're going to talk with Spencer about one of his challenging events, and I thank you for being so vulnerable and honest on this. As I read this, I actually wept. I actually wept. And then I read another a couple of weeks ago of something that you and Abby did that I wept again. And I'm going to talk to Abby about that one.
You should,
Not you.
Yeah, that's a good
Abby's
one for her.
story.
It is her story.
You know which one I'm talking about?
I do indeed, yeah.
All right, Spencer, you grew up in a rural community very similar to the community I grew up in.
Yeah.
You considered yourself a nerd.
Yeah.
I also considered myself a nerd. I spent more time in the garbage can than I did at my locker.
Yeah. That was me. Yeah.
At the age of 14 or
Yeah.
13,
Yeah.
your parents went through a
around there.
divorce.
Oh, so my parents went through divorce at age 10.
Okay.
Yeah, age 10. So
Okay.
a little younger.
And socially, really a hard thing, particularly in our cultural and small community. And you reached a point where, although you never tried to act out, but at one point you considered taking your life.
Correct. Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit, honestly, vulnerably, but also boldly about that?
Yeah. And it took me a long time to find the language and the courage to talk about this. And once I did, it was very liberating. But I've shared this story before. My parents got divorced when I was young. Went through a very difficult time being the nerd in school. Time in the garbage can, those types of
Picture
things.
you now, man. Who could ever believe that? Any of you kids watching, hang on, look at this.
But set your bar higher, kids.
That's it. No, what they say is, Bill Gates used to always say, be really nice to the nerds, guys, because one day you're going to work for one. Hey.
Here we are. That's it. And so I really started to think that that the world would be a better place if I wasn't in it. And that was it was a dark time in my life. And I wasn't sure how to deal with that. Again, it wasn't something we talked about ever. Fortunately, I was surrounded by really great people who took an interest in me, adults, including family members, but also, and this is important, I've always said that, especially in those early teenage years, having a trusted third, someone who is not your parent, but takes an interest in you, who can be a mentor, can be helpful. And I had a couple of those people in my life, and then some good friends that really changed. I started to see my own value, my own self-worth, and I realized that maybe the world would be a better place with me in it. And so I share that, and I now talk often to young people in youth groups because we do know that suicide is so prevalent. We've learned over time and research that actually talking about it and having that conversation is the best way to save lives. We often think, well, I don't want to plant any seeds or thoughts, but that you can't. Those thoughts are there, and asking, giving people the ability, the permission to speak and to share what they're thinking is what they need, and the best thing we can do to save lives.
That was absolutely beautiful, vulnerable, honest, and I so appreciate it. You answered all three questions I was going to ask, but I'm going to ask them anyways, just because I can. Just to re-emphasize and to give 3 bullet points up on the screen here for everyone. First of all, what was the thing that switched in your mind to say, no, it is a better place with me? Number 2 is who, if anyone, intervened? And number 3, the advice that you would give. We have a lot of mothers and also fathers, a lot of strong, interested parents. What advice would you just straight up give them on this sensitive topic?
Sure. So the thing that switched in me was a feeling of connection. Right, a feeling of belonging. It turns out we're wired for connection. I heard somebody say, we have a lot of addiction, right? Deaths of despair that come in the form of suicide, but also in the form of addiction to medications, alcohol, those types of things. And so what I heard, and this was very powerful to me, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Yeah. So that's what we need. Belonging and connection are the key to solving these types of issues. So I felt that connection and belonging. Second, I had people that I connected with. My parents, I had a stepmom that came into my life who was very patient with me, very loving, helped me in so many ways, which is not the usual story, right? In all the fairy tales, the stepmom's the bad person. In my life, the stepmom was a savior of sorts to help me. And then I had some individuals outside of my family. I had an aunt and an uncle who I was really close to. I had a scout leader that took an interest in me cared about me. We shared a love of the same music, and he was someone who I felt connected to, and I felt a belonging there. I'm forever grateful for him. And then the last thing is the advice. It's so hard to talk about these things, but I try to ask my kids on occasion whenever I feel like they're struggling a little bit. And the truth is, even if you don't, sometimes it's the kids who have straight A's and are perfect in school and everything's going well, but to ask the question, have you thought about suicide before? And they may say yes, they may say no, but they have. But just knowing that they have someone there that you're interested in, that it's okay to have that conversation. It's not off limits. Now, I know as a parent, you're thinking, what if they do say yes? I don't know what to do. And you're right. There's some great training out there. It's called QPR training. QPR, it's like CPR. We all learned CPR as kids, right? And in Scouts, we learned what to do if someone was unconscious, how to do CPR. QPR is the same thing, but it stands for question, persuade, and refer. So you ask the question, have you thought about it? You can ask friends, kids, your own kids, whoever. And then you persuade them, hey, look, I'm so sorry you're feeling this way. I want to be able to help you. Let's get help together. Just persuade, and then you refer them to someone. And we have some great tools available in our state right now. We have the Safe Utah app. You can download it on your phone or your device. This app is incredible because it doesn't take any effort. You don't have to drive somewhere. You don't have to call someone. You push a button on your phone, and you can do it anonymously. That's the best part. If you're worried, you can do it anonymously, or you can do it without anonymity. You can tell them who you are, and you can be in contact with a professional immediately.
Does that work also outside of Utah? Much of our audience is all over the world.
So we are trying to share this outside of the state of Utah. We have other states that are interested.
We just did it.
We just did, and we're encouraging, if you're interested in your communities, let us know. Anybody can download it. Anyone can download it. It's only for Utah residents, but you can look at it. You can see how it works. But there are suicide hotlines that you can call. Every country has a suicide hotline. Every state has suicide hotlines. Those types of things. But at the push of a button, you can have these conversations. And so that's the refer part. So now we refer them to a professional who can help them and get them what they need. Counselors at school, there are helpers everywhere, and we just need to be looking for them. Yep, that's it.
Okay, we're going to make sure that we put that resource and that sequence up on the screen, if we can do that as part of our interview here. I hope you felt it. I hope you saw it. When we give voice, what Spencer just did is he went toward some of the hard topics. And rather than hide it, we didn't jump underneath the table. We looked it dead straight in the eyeballs. That's what you just did. And that gives it voice, courage, brings it out into the light. And then the big, hairy, scary monster isn't so big and scary anymore. We can face it head on.
That's so true. It's the unknown that scares us. In fact, I've always believed that our deepest, darkest secrets are the world's greatest truths. And we found that with when it comes to suicide ideation and thought. Most people have gone through those phases, and we think we're broken. We think that we're alone, and the truth is we're not. This is very common. There's nothing wrong with you. It's amazing when we break an arm, Rich. You mentioned that sometimes we're getting older now. Our feet hurt, our legs hurt, right? Things hurt. When we break an arm. When you're a kid, what do? We celebrate it. You go to school with your cast, and everybody signs your cast, and you're the cool kid because you broke your arm. Well, when something breaks here, we're embarrassed by it and we hide from it. That's crazy. We have to change the culture in this world and be vulnerable and run towards those difficult, scary things.
That's right.
We find out we're not alone. They're not difficult. They're not scary. We're surrounded by help and we can get better. We can absolutely get better. We need you, wherever you are. We need you to stay. We need you here. This world is better because of you. Please, please, please stay. Please talk to someone. Please get help. and you can be better. It's incredible.
It's the fierce with reality, facing our fears, fierce with reality, and you articulate it so incredibly well. I don't even need to put a wrap on that, Spencer. I think it's also fueling the addictions. A lot of the
Absolutely,
addictions is actually loss of connection. And the way that we heal this is connection and just going and looking the bogeyman. And I do want to just back up a little bit on that mental health topic, because it's not, the stigma's not there like it was. And the instrument's not as crude. There's a lot of beautiful resources now that we can treat these things so much more effectively. And it's not something to be ashamed of.
It is getting better, and I'm grateful it's getting better. And you're right. And that's what the other thing I would say is just look around. Who around you needs you today? Sometimes you'll be the one that needs someone, but most days, if we're giving back, it's also good for our mental health when we're serving others and giving back. So just look for that. That connection is so important. And you're right about the addiction piece. That lack of connection, we try to numb ourselves from whatever it is we're scared of, or whatever it is we're missing out of, and the numbing doesn't last. It's not real happiness. We find that in dealing head on with those trials and those fears.
That was absolutely beautiful. I'm so grateful to Spencer for just hitting it dead on the nose. Spencer, any final words you'd like to say before we put a wrap on this one?
Well, Rich, thank you for allowing me to have this conversation and be part of this. It's what I admire so much about you. Everywhere you go, our motto with our team in government is to be recklessly good. I'm always encouraging our people to be recklessly good, and there's so much good in the world. It's easy to get caught up in the negativity. Yeah. It's easy to get dragged down by what we're seeing on social media, what we're seeing in the news today. Turn all of that off. Go look around you. There's beauty in the world. Find your friends, make new friends, meet your neighbors, go out, build your community, and life's good. Life is really good.
Life is amazing good when you, not that I would suggest it because you're all on social media, but turn your social media off and down a little bit. It actually is a lot more healing, and also I agree with the news, and take a good hour walk every day. It's amazing how much joy will jump to life, and that's got to be the hardest thing. Thank you so much for the sacrifice you're making, and not only for doing this, but I just got to tell you, I'm not sure I have the heart or the perseverance to go public and to make the sacrifices you are. Thank you for fighting the good fight on my behalf and so many others, Spencer, and just what high respect that I have on you, not only as the governor, but how you've conducted your life and the kind of man you are. And I truly count you as a friend, and know you can count on me. Next election, or even if it's not election-oriented, you have my highest confidence and trust.
Thank you, Rich. That means the world to me. Thank you.
My privilege.